what is your view of the qualifying offer, and why are you willing to take it, or are you?
Yeah, well, you brought up a good point, sir.
Do you want to hear JK's answer from his agent? Well, Warriors Digest, we have this for you. Before we get into it, intro. Folks, the truth is coming out about the Jonathan Kuminga situation. What was today in Warriors land? Media Day. Everybody spoke besides Jonathan Kuminga, who's not there. His qualifying offer is due on Wednesday, and we're going to break that down. Plus, Mike Dunleavy Jr., Steve Kerr, head coach, GM, did not speak. But we heard from Draymond, we heard from Steph, and everybody spoke. Plus, we had JK's agent go on the podcast and speak about the opportunity that is presenting itself. So we're going to play it all for you, hear all the sound in the Jonathan Kuminga situation. Randy Silver, Warriors Digest. You got Houston here as well. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss anything, because we're here, folks. It's been the dog days of summer. We're back. And the Warriors have been making moves the past couple days. In case you missed it, our roster is filling out. You can see all the players. We have our two-way contracts. Jackson Rowe, Pat Spencer, Alex Tui. Pat Spencer coming back on a two-way contract. One of my favorite players the past couple of years. You know, crazy he can't get onto a team as a backup point guard with how he played. But good for him to be two-way, come back to Golden State. Then you have your training camp players. And then, of course, Will Richard signed. Your draft pick out of Florida. Alex Tui is your other draft pick. Two-way player. Melton, signed. Payton, signed. They have Steph Curry in here, slotted. If he comes in slotted, there you go. I know there's some comments. I haven't seen anything coming quite yet, but there you go. And then, of course, Jonathan Kuminga as qualifying offer, $7.9 million. If that's what he gets. And then if you want to see the future money, of course, this is where it goes. I'll blow it up for a second. So if you want to pause your video, you can see how it would come out. Now, the thing with Kuminga, again, we're going to play the video, so let me share my screen for you, just to make sure we're on the same page. Reportedly, the offers are 2 years, $45 million, 3 years, $75 million. Plus, he's a qualifying offer for $7.9 million. Something has to be done before October 1st. That is Wednesday. The leverage with Kuminga is if he takes a qualifying offer, there's a no-trade clause. He'll be a free agent next year, unrestricted. If he takes the Warriors offer, they want to put a team option in there, and they won't give him a no-trade clause. So the leverage is with the Warriors. So now let's listen to the agent of Jonathan Kuminga talk. And let's make sure, because I listen to stuff at 1.5. Let's make sure this is 1 for you guys. Playback speed 1. We're going to pause this and go over everything.
What is your view of the qualifying offer, and why are you willing to take it, or are you?
Yeah, well, you brought up a good point, sir. I pitched the player option deal, right, to give him flexibility. We haven't said no to a team option. Our theory and feeling is, though, if you want a team option and you want to get rid of his no trade clause, which the QO inherently has, okay, that's a different price. You got to pay for that. Okay, you gotta put more on top if you want both. I've also pitched, just before we get to taking the QO, hey, fine, we'll do the 1+1 scenario, but let him keep his no trade clause, which would put us in the same position we are right now, but with no base compensation rule. So JK at least has a seat at the table to figure out where he wants to go next, and you guys would have the back end of the deal, but they won't do that. So they've really tried to make a deal where they have no risk and are taking, to me, advantage of the situation of the market being closed.
They are offering.
So that's the big thing right there, is they want the no trade clause. If you're going to put 2-3 years and have a team option, what's the leverage that we have? A no trade clause. We don't want to be traded to some random team with 2 years left on the contract that is a bad team or whatever. We want to be able to have say. That is why the qualifying offer is good, because he has say in who he goes to next year, regardless of anything that happens. They can't trade him. But if you do a 2+1 or 1-1 with a no, and there isn't a no trade clause, then JK is basically at the will of the Warriors, and they don't think that's fair. And if you're going to do that, give us more money. That's basically what he's saying. Let's continue.
A ton of money, and he is saying, maybe I will not take that money.
Right. So when we look at these deals, one of the things he'll say to me is like, is this deal, fair to me. And based on what we discussed, is it fair? No, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I think that it's taking advantage of the circumstances, which for JK, that's not what he's looking for. So when you say, will he take the QO? He will take the QO. But if he's treated fairly, and in our mind, that's flipping, like I said, the TO to the PO, he's back, and then we don't have to talk about the QO. But the QO is real. It's something that, if JK wants to take, it does have upside, right? We've talked about that. You don't get, you're not getting traded. You're going to have unrestricted free agency in a year that, even if people want to say, well, Aaron, there's not going to be 10 or 12 teams. Fine. There'll be 6 teams with cap space for the clear cut, under 35, the top wing on the market. So there's
under 35 top wing in the market. JK is going to be like 22, 23. That's a big stretch. I mean, I don't know. I haven't taken a look at the free agent list next summer, but like, that's a big age gap there, right there.
There's a lot of upside if, he wants to pick where he wants to go, and the opportunity to be an unrestricted free agent in a way better market. So the QO is real, for sure. There's no, it's being considered completely. It's being talked about, but it's not something, anybody wants to do.
Neither side. I mean, Brian, you know this, right? Clearly, that we wouldn't be here on September 18th on this podcast discussing this if either side wanted that.
Look, I agree with what they're saying is they want leverage. Right now, to them, JK's camp, it feels like all the leverage is with the Warriors. Hey, if we sign for 2-3 years, like you haven't played JK, there's of course opportunity to trade them to get more players, draft picks, whatever, then we just lost all our leverage. So if you give us, we'll do the 2-3 years, but give us a no trade clause, and that means that we're on the same page in terms of priorities. Or give us more money that you're giving us because of that. Or we take the qualifying offer, and you know what? Doesn't matter. At that point, we'll be unrestricted free agent next year, and you can bid to try to get him back. So JK is not speaking. This is the agent doing the bidding. Now, Steph Curry was asked about this in his media press conference. What does he think about this whole situation and the agent doing the talking?
When his agent comes out and says, if we get the contract we want, we'll be committed to doing everything we can to win a championship. What is your reaction to something like that and the idea of like conditional commitment?
I only listen to my teammate. I don't listen to agents or anybody who was speaking on behalf. Like, I hear that from JK.
What have you heard from JK?
Yeah, he'll be committed when he gets here. I just know from man to man, he doesn't want to have to be in the way of anything. So let that situation play out. He can speak for himself.
Love that by Steph. I don't listen to agents. Let the players speak for themselves. Of course, eventually we will hear from JK about what he thinks. Now, someone who's not afraid to speak his mind is Draymond. And he was asked, do you even think JK wants to be here? Here's his thoughts.
Be here.
I think anyone should want to be in the franchise that they started in. And so do I think he still wants to be here? I do think he still wants to be here. And he said that to me, that he still wants to be here. When you're still with the franchise that drafted you, I don't care what has happened. You don't just throw that in the middle of the ring and say, hey, somebody else go take it, because you never get it back. Once you move on to the next franchise, I'm thankful. I'm going in year 14 with the same. I've never had to experience that, but I've seen people go through it. It's never the same. And I know this business. It will never be the same. So I know he still wants to be here. And I think anyone should still want to be with the franchise that drafted them if you can, because once you leave that place, it's just different.
I like that by Draymond. Very insightful. And again, getting that opportunity to be drafted, if you get to walk the stage, everything, and feeling that franchise is big. And he did say JK wants to be here, which is interesting. So now let's go to the captain himself, Steph Curry. What's his take on the Jonathan Kuminga situation, taking the agent out?
Don't make it more than what it is, other than, a team trying to figure out the situation that's in front of us and the challenge that's in front of us, knowing JK's situation, knowing the new faces that we're adding to the roster, like we talk about it every year going into a training camp of what it's going to take for that particular team to win. This is a little different just because you have a guy that's trying to figure out his situation, and we respect that process, and it's going to play out. And you know, when he's here, ready to work, like we expect him to be locked in on doing what he needs to do to help us win. So negotiations are hard. We all know that. The idea of everybody's situation is a little different. Everybody can come up with whatever narrative they want to. It's how business kind of goes. You know, some things are pretty straightforward, some things aren't. This is definitely in the aren't conversation or category. But when he comes and he's here, he should be a professional and do exactly what he expects to do and take advantage of his opportunities to help us win. Like everybody who's in the locker room, that's what you're committed to do. And so I don't have any concerns that he'll approach it that way, and that's what we expect.
Again, love that from Steph. Be locked in, ready to go. When he's here, he's here. He'll work. A true professional, and I agree. I think Kuminga is going to be locked in and do everything he needs to do when he gets here. Now, the question is, will it be toxic in the locker room? I don't know. I think it'd just be more JK with Steve Kerr and, like, the mannerisms. But I think player to player, like, they're all in the league. They get it. You're here to make money. You're here to play, ball out. So it's something that they're used to, especially like somebody like Steph Curry. Now, the younger players, maybe not as much, but they've seen it, been around the block. So the question is, folks, again, this is being recorded on a Monday night. What is happening with Jonathan Kuminga? Stalemate. Probably find out Wednesday at the latest, because that's when he's got to sign it. My intuition, he signs a qualifying offer, $7.9 million, plays out the final year of his contract in the Warriors jersey, and goes out to be a free agent, and probably is not back after that point. Again, he can't be traded if he signs the qualifying offer. So comment your thoughts, folks. Like, subscribe. Of course, everything we do for you here on Warriors Digest is for you, the fans, and we're going to give you the best of the best. We'll see you guys next time. Or maybe later tonight if more news breaks. Deuces.
What is your view of the qualifying offer, and why are you willing to take it, or are you?